Welcome back to Super Sentai Review, episode 403. We're here reviewing episodes of Kyoryuger, episodes 34 to 36. Basically, this is the Bragigas arc, and of course, we're talking about a movie. The second and, last movie technically released during the course series. Actually, there's one more and watch afterwards, because that's 100 years after the series. So in these three episodes, we have where Saya and Gray basically come back. Well, basically because they found the last pieces, and of course they find where the Brachisaurus is. Apparently, it's beneath this lake. Apparently, it's been there for a long time, and they need apparently these things are these stones that they've been hinting at for quite a while. Apparently, it was tears of deceased guardians that were killed in the past by this Guardian Fortress monster who works for the Davos army. So basically they find, of course, they have one guy who fishes, and of course Lakiro thinks he's there to stop them from summoning Brachisaurus. And then he basically finds what he's looking for, this strange cross thing. He's like, okay, get this Lord Chaos, and I'll eliminate it, and then basically he'll sacrifice himself to basically get that there. And, well, they basically, they find Brachiosaurus, and he's able to be fully activated. It turns out, though, that Spare Base actually is inside Brachiosaurus' like, astral plane form that he's in, which is interesting. So, yes, and they got it fixed, and of course, battle the monster, and then the end of the episode ends with them basically forced to be ejected from the spirit base, and Tor goes off on his own with the thing, so look out that Yuri comes in the very next episode. By the way, at the end of the episode, it's revealed that the thing that the other monster found was a doll. A doll that creates... Well, it's in the next episode, because we see Torin look like he attacks Gray and Ramirez, and it turns out this actually is a clone. Yep, known as Mad God Torin. Yes, the demon sword of the Davos army, something that he's supposed to be. Apparently, allegedly, it was his true form, and he fights him, of course, the episode. And at one point, they lose the power because it's cursed. This particular monster is basically forcing on the Kyoryugers. And of course, basically, they get knocked away. And of course, all the Zords will fight him. And who finds them, per se? Well, this is interesting. So, Ian and Amy are basically, they're treated by Gentle. And of course, Ian gets a black espresso. Amy gets basically a tea. Naosun and King are found by Naosun's sister and niece. Uchi and Sanchi are found by two characters who only appeared prior to this in one episode. And who are these two kids? Yes, we have Toshi from episode 12 of the series, Attack the King and I. And there's also Yuji. Yuji was part of basically the whole thing. His episode was that basically kids basically become like how much they're very spoiled. That's kind of the theme anyways. Yeah, and I'm like, okay, so you have these two kids show up here. I'm like, okay, because they have a pass with them. And I'm like, here's kind of the thing with this episode. And this is just my honest opinion anyways. I think they should have had one more person show up in the scene. Yes, there is one character who only appeared twice over the course of the series. And, of course, she was mentioned 35, obviously. But does not make a particular appearance. And y'all thinking, why is that? Who is that? Rin Katsuyama. Yeah, she's not in the episode. I kind of wish she was here too. Because she's in love with Sanji, and she's not in the episode. She only made 2 appearances. And I do criticize this. Basically, why couldn't you have her appear? There's nothing that you can't have her here. Like, okay, the kids, okay, they had a past, they had one off episode with them. Of course, they appeared for this episode. And both these kids, they're never seen again after this episode. Nope. Never. So, and basically cheering, and apparently deactivates the curse, and eventually they form a big Megazord, and, well, they destroy the actual thing. They destroy this fortress. And the very next episode, they tap loose, and from the episode 35, where Torin basically, well, people, King Prince, he's a nice guy, and, well, he's very brave, and then, of course, he's C-Mega Torin, so they reveal the whole thing with him. Yeah, he only appears in, like, basically episode 36. He's not seen again until toward the end of the series because he gets destroyed in this episode. We'll get to that. So then, of course, basically, he offers up his life for skill, all the outposts survive him. So then he basically is powered by bravery and becomes the 10th Kyoryuger, Kyo Silver. Yep, which, yes, he did do this in Power Rangers. Except for some reason they had it where, get this, they had these two occupy the same body, so then they get these two, like, separate. They had to use a splitting device that was later used in Beast Morphers. I'm like, that's interesting. Yeah, in the case of Beast Morphers, they did it because Vengeance possessed the Red Ranger's father, who was Mayor Daniels, mayor of the town there, which is quite interesting. Well, it's nice to be the continuity there. So, they get separated, and by the way, the whole thing, Matt Tormey, like the evil Silver Ranger, that doesn't happen here. That was made up for Power Rangers. And he is destroyed. There's also a thing with Davos Hell, which is actually set up for what I read. It's a setup for the end of the series. So, they plugged the hole after he's destroyed, and, well, they have all 10 Zords. Torin is now a Ranger now. And that's pretty much the arc in a nutshell. It's a very good arc and advances the series a lot. Fantastic episodes. Now to talk about this particular movie, the second movie ever released. Well, not counting the second Sentai movie, which I'm going to review that when I talk about Wizard again. Because I decided not to talk about it again because I did remember the film, but I'm not going to talk about it here because Kyoryuger has a tiny role to play in the movie. So I'm not going to do basically something like, it's more for Wizard and Gavin than it is for those two. So, for that team. So, let's talk about this second movie, which was adapted for 3 episodes of Beast Morphers. Yes, this is probably the only thing that they skipped over when they adapted Downcharge. There was a reason why. Because this movie is a team with Go Busters. This is Kyoryuger versus Go Busters. Farewell to eternal dinosaur friends. Yeah, because Ghostbusters are back. First time since the end of their series. So, here's what happens. Movie starts out with this giant asteroid coming to Earth with looks like to be clones of Gryphosaur, the Sentai counterpart for Goldar, and Neo, I think it's Grydar, I think his name is, who is a clone of the Armor of Darkness from Abba Ranger, who is the Sentai counterpart for Zeltrax. And this character did pop up on Downcharge. Yes, he did. But not Gryphosaur. Nope. Probably because Gryphosaur is only limited for this movie. And some reason they somehow extended the footage with basically this one monster suit. Because here's kind of the thing. I saw this movie before he popped up as Snide on Downcharge. I saw it long before that. And the movie, one thing I don't like about this movie, it does not have good CGI. Yes, it looks pretty bad, that movie. But I love the story of this one. So, and then they cut to Earth, where we see a truck being driven with the grunts of Kyoryuger, and there's a guy wearing a red dinosaur shirt inside. And they're being chased by the Go Busters. And I wonder, like, who is this guy in the red dinosaur shirt? We'll find out later who he is. And then, this is interesting. Then we cut to this desert where we see, I kid you not, Goki from Zoo Ranger. Yes, first of the actors appeared in Sentai since the end of Zyuden. Yes, he did kind of pop up during Gokaiger in suit, but he never actually reprised the role. And here he is, like, you're thinking, okay, wait a minute. Didn't this guy go to heaven at the end of Kyoryuger? And he's back here walking as something from the heavens. And then he's, like, confronted by King's father. And then, of course, I love this anyways, where he's like, Gryphosaur? What are you doing here? Okay, so the whole thing with Gryphosaur is, now unlike in the case of Neo Gaider, who was a clone of a dead character, this guy's a clone of a character who was sealed, who was resealed at the end of Zyuden, and it was never technically destroyed. Yeah, this is a weird thing related to the series, this franchise, where like a lot of the villains part of this are technically destroyed by the end of the series. Zyuden is one of two I've watched where the main villains are like the main villain of the core series when we have fighting, where they're just sealed and then they're just never seen again. Of course, got updated look now. Yes, this did pop up in Beast Mode first, but he comes with Godar Maximus. Yeah, he's got a freaking long tail. And he's accompanied by freaking buddies. And they fight them. Then Goku gets captured. Which, fun fact, Austin St. John actually has met this guy. At a Comic-Con, he mentioned, like, what number am I over in Japan? And he says, number 26 for Red Ranger. Yes. So, yeah, he's mentioned he's actually a really nice guy, the actor who plays Goki. Yeah. So, then we finally see the Kyoryugers, where we see, like, someone along the sky, and then they come across a dinosaur with a mohawk, which this same dinosaur popped up in the very first episode of Kyoryuger, and it talks like, Diego, that's King, like, protect, of course they're basically noticing he's there because Mini Gobro notices he's there, and like, protect your best friend, make sure he doesn't die, and then he just disappears. He mentioned something about Dino Hope, which is the key energy thing in this movie. Yeah, and then they're confronted by, well, and then of course basically the two villains show up, and then get this, how the heck these two got here was, get this, was due to the Varan virus program from Go Busters. When I originally watched this movie, I was kind of turned off by these guys because the virus thing really was kind of weird. I wasn't really into it at the time, but now I like it. And we see Enter and Escape return. First time we've seen them since the end of Go Busters, which they both died. They were destroyed. Also, when that, and of course, basically, like, so the Go Busters save the Kyoryugers from being taken. So, I think it's Red Buster talks to King, who thanks him for saving him and Gokai Red from the previous movie. Which, that's a rarity. We actually get continuity between these movies. Which, yes, the movie is canon, so. And of course, we have Buster Blue, where he basically protects, I think it's Uchi and Naus, and of course he actually laughs at Naus' old man jokes. We have Yoko and Amy hook up with, basically, to hang out with each other. Let's see. Oh, and I think it's like Ian and Sanji are protected by Juicy. Yes. Who is the guardian of the forest. And he's got like a little tag on him. I'm like, oh, you're insects until they're taken. Yeah. And of course, also Yoko is basically confronted by Escape. And I'm like, wait a minute. Yoko, you do know you fought this woman in the previous series and you completely forgot about him. At least in the case of Red Buster, he remembers Enter. But why the heck doesn't Yoko remember that she fought Escape? Well, does she think this is basically her rebooting herself every time? Because that was a weird thing that happened toward the end of Go Busters, where Escape was repeating herself It's like, this is Glock, this is Mach, and it's like, I'm Escape. And I'm like, oh boy, see three pretty ladies fight each other, and well, it goes pretty well. And then of course that all of them captured, and then the Go-Busters find them, and then they all basically wear black attires, where it says, it's like, leave us alone, we're Dino Hunters. You're like, what? Yeah, the Kyoryuger has been brainwashed to become Dino Hunters, and they go back in time, the dinosaurs. So they basically go to Spirit Base. Of course, the commander is there too. And then, this is interesting. So, Alba Blue returns for the first time since his episode on Gokaiger without his hot wife for some reason. Yeah, she's not here. I'm not sure why. So, they want to use his dino guts to power a beast battery. Interesting. So then of course we also have where before the Kyoryuger get captured, we have this really cool scene here. So the guy in the red shirt, and of course they get from like, oh crap, that's Ryoga from Alba Ranger, the red Alba Ranger. And of course when they have Goki in his morph form, and like, oh crap, they basically took the whole frickin' team. Minus Barai, who's dead. No mention of Barai this whole movie. Also, Juicy's acting really weird, like something's like glowing on him. We'll do that in a minute. So, yeah, I thought it was, and of course, like, and then we see later when they get unbrainwashed after fighting basically their juniors, and of course being drained of their Dino Hope to basically power their cosmic dragon god. And then, of course, the Kyoryugers, this is where they get captured. Not the air battles, but this is where they get captured. And in the case of, and when Red sees Tor and thinks the chicken, even though it's kind of a bird-like thing, but like, don't worry, it's a personal thing, and I thought it was kind of funny. They brought back that gag. Because he's afraid of chickens. Yes, he's afraid of chickens, all because something happened to his child. And by the way, his sister is not in this movie. You're like, really? His older sister does not return for this movie. As for why, not really sure why, but she doesn't. And technically for the Go-Busters, the last time they appeared was actually in the previous Tension movie. Yep. That was when they appeared. So, and of course they find out where everybody, they find out where the two are, find the Hope. So, Tor and the three main Go-Busters go to there, and then of course they battle the Grunts. And then Juicy reveals, oh yeah, he has basically a backup copy of Jin. You know, the Avatar, who is basically the Gold Buster. They all morph, of course, with Torin, and of course, I didn't know it was Torin, and then of course they're confronted by the three main characters, the four main evil soldiers from, basically it's Kandra, Lakiro, Dogoid, and Akinoid. Basically, they all confront them, and they fight them. Chaos doesn't do anything in some movies besides hang out basically in their frozen castle base. So then, of course, they're basically knocked away, and then, of course, the Go-Busters destroy the machine that's been draining the Dino Hope. Because when they get, of course, what happened in the past is they're shooting the various dinosaurs, and so. And then one night, say from a volcanic explosion, and they reveal, oh crap, they've been shooting their own partners. So then it goes back to to protect my future self. And they get back to the present. They try to morph, but no Dino Hope. They have no power. So basically, they're fighting the Grunts with no powers. And they're beating the crap out of them. And of course, basically, where, like, Goki and Ryoga basically freed. And then, like, well, here's kind of interesting. And then before the base explodes, we see 4 hands grab the Dino Bucklers. Yes. And of course, everyone got the powers back, and then of course, oh, by the way, the 4 Dino Bucklers, it's the rest of the Zoo Rangers. They show up too. And of course, we have Blue already morphed, and Yellow returns. Now, I did read. Now, here's the thing: the actress herself is not in this movie. But she admitted when she did a 20th anniversary movie that she actually did a voiceover. you think, okay, why wasn't Abba yelled this movie? Quite simple, really. She retired because she started a family, because it's a thing in Japan, obviously. And of course, they all morph. And of course, then we have this massive fight sequence where we have the 3 Alpha Rangers fighting Neo Guys, like, how dare you use us? And they go to their super mode, and they go their Dino Bomb, and they destroy him, just like you do in Dino Charge. Except they give him, like, virtually, like, the only lines they give is, like, their shields, and then a line later on. And you're probably wondering, like, if you watch the episode and then watch this movie, you probably wonder, like, wait, why did the Dino Charge, the Dino Rangers destroy Snide? Well, if you watch Sentai, you would know here's the thing. The reason why why they went after him, even though technically in Power Rangers sense, he's a Dino Charge villain. The only reason why they destroyed him because his Sentai counterpart is a clone of one of their villains. Oh yeah, and also, you're probably thinking, does Uchi destroy Escape just like how Ian destroys Roxy in Dino Charge in Beast Morphers? Yep, he does. Same way, just different lines. Oh, by the way, they did make one change here. Who destroys Enter? The Dino Charge Rangers. Which, I find that kind of weird. Like, okay, so you have 2 villains from Go Busters, and then they're killed by the Kyoryugers. Doesn't that feel kind of weird? They're not killed by their own Rangers? The Rangers they fought? And yet they don't really do a lot in this movie. So, and then, like, by the way, in Beast Morphers, basically his counterpart Blaze, he was destroyed by Devin. And then they're like, okay, let's bring the basically together for this gigantic blaster. Which, by the way, in Power Rangers, basically have Jason saying, like, alright guys, let's destroy him! And the girl's like, yeah! And of course they bring together to this ultimate blaster where they destroy him. In Power Rangers, he's definitely destroyed. In this one, he's like, aha, I basically absorb all this dino power. Here, my boss! Give the power! And then of course they summon the freaking dinosaur. And of course, like, as a cool gift, they give Ryoga and Goki basically, like, beast. Well, before the battle starts, they give them like 2 beast batteries, and they throw it, and it's basically the Tyrannosaurus God Zord, and basically the red, the T-Rex Zord from Alba Ranger, and of course Gabba's there too because Gabba turned black, so King basically woke him up because, of course, the past version cried on the actual stone. So he took the stone off his basically neck, put it in his fist, and punched Gemba in the face. And that was started with this awesome fight sequence. So then they summoned the freaking Megazords, which, of course, yes, Daijin's the CGI. Now, in the case of, now, those of you curious, like, wait a minute, wasn't the end of Down Thunder the Zords destroyed? They were, and then all of a sudden they're basically fine in Beast Morphers. Well, that's because of the Sentai footage. That's mainly the reason for it. And of course, they combine all together. Oh, by the way, they did make another change from this show and, of course, in Beast Morphers, because I've watched the episode repeatedly and I love the episode. So, they changed the cockpits. Because, here's the thing. For Daijin and Albert O, they have no cockpits inside of them. They're in a white void. Now you're probably thinking, what the heck happened to cockpits? From what I read, I think they were demolished, and I think they were demolished, so they got damaged at some point, so they just didn't bother to use them. So when they used it in Power Rangers, they used freaking stock footage for the cockpits. So they, of course, basically summoned the Lion Zord from Go Busters. And here's another thing I thought was really kind of bullcrap. They didn't basically put this in the Down Charge one, in Beast Morphers. So in this one, we have it where the 3 main Go Busters go inside the main Megazord. And they're basically out of suit. Now, I get the fact, okay, it's the actors. You could, I don't know, just insert the 3 actors from Go Busters inside there. Basically, Beast Wars. Nope. Let's have it basically get like, oh yeah, you're in bad shape, it barely moves, but Devin's perfectly fine, so let's let the Beast and King Sword merge and do the actual final thing. Here, like, by the way, in Beast Wars, they don't give that big blast a name. In this one, they give it, it's like a Brave Blast, and they destroy the Cosmic one. And they destroy the Cosmic Being. And then, of course, they all celebrate, and of course, they all go separate ways afterwards. And then Neo Gaiden basically just magically revives, becomes Neo Messiah with the burglars, and then 5 colored people, walk up like they're basically a single file line. Okay, this is the debut of Kyoryuger, the Sentai that for some reason Hasbro and Saban refused to adapt. And the reason I have heard of why they refused to adapt this particular series, and one of the reason why that was given, was because they think kids not in the trains. Another reason because they want to finish 6 in Japan. So then they show off all the various powers. Like, oh yeah, they're not effective Sentai team. They're the technically 38th team. So then they all swap powers because Ranger does this, and eventually they destroy Neo Messiah. And they're here as an early bird cameo for Kyoryuger. And those to be curious, is Kyoryuger my next Sentai after I finish up Kyoryuger? No, it's going to be a different one. You'll find that out when I finish this one. But I love this movie. It's amazing. I mean, I like the fact that basically Beast Wars kept a lot of the fight in. I didn't mind the change of Inter being basically having him get killed, basically where he is killed by the Kyoryugers. I guess that maybe Simon people must have like, hey, he's a villain from Go Buster. Why is he just getting destroyed by Dino Charge? Why is he getting destroyed by Kyoryuger? Why is he not killed by one of his own people who fought him? And my guess probably the reason that's why they changed it. And I personally don't have a problem with the change. That change was perfectly fine. What change I didn't like, though, was not included having the Go-Buster inside the cockpit of the Dino Charge Megazord. I kind of think they should have included it, but they didn't for some reason. And this was, in fact, the 3rd ever movie I had ever seen for Sentai. Yep, but I have never viewed it until now. Yeah, until today, I never viewed it. But I love this movie. And I've seen it a few times, and I personally love it now. Because, as of now, there is still one movie left where I have seen, but I've never reviewed. Because this actually is one of the 2 remaining ones left. Because prior to this year, there was like 7 movies I had. There was a handful of movies when I came back to Sentai a few years ago where there's about 4 or 5 movies where I have seen, but I've never reviewed them. And the movies where there was movie 4, I think it was Cockaranger in the movie. There was Hurricaneger versus Galranger, Abba Ranger versus Hurricaneger, Abba Ranger versus Decaranger. I think it was Bokenger versus Super Sentai. This movie and Kyoryuger versus Kyoryuger. So as of now, I've watched all these movies where I have seen but I've never viewed them. Now I have one left. And that's Kyoryuger versus Kyoryuger. Which, looking forward to watching in the future. You got thoughts when I get a chance to watch it soon. But now, since I watched it now while watching Kyoryuger, I can now understand basically what's going on in the movie. I mainly watched it because I wanted to see a cool team up. That was mainly the reason why I decided to watch this originally back in 2016, I think it was when I originally watched the movie. But the movie itself is fantastic. Like, I do appreciate basically how they adapt it. Though they did make some changes. Yes, they didn't have the brainwashing plot or having Jason get captured or even Comic Knight captured and getting brainwashed too. Like, yeah, they had to change that because Comic Knight wasn't in that one. Yeah, for some reason. Now, here's the thing. Those of you curious, why didn't Dino Rangers appear in person for the movie? The reason why, because they don't do anything, they haven't done anything in years. They're basically like, I think like one does convention circuit, and that's one who plays Blue. But as for the actor who plays Connor McKnight, I think he's a director now. And as for the actress who played Kira, I think she's a singer. Yeah, but movie's good overall. Like, if I get a chance to meet the actor who played Dino Blue, I'm gonna tell him this basically. His counterpart did show up for this movie, he didn't. And I want to hear his thoughts on the adaptation of this one. But and keep it this movie was adapted for like 3 episodes of Beast Morphers. Yeah, 3 episodes. Normally, when they adapt these movies for Power Rangers, they adapt this for like 1, maybe 2 episodes, but 3? Yeah, 3 episodes. Yeah. But not much to say this movie. Really good. And as of right now, I am officially on break from Kyoryuger. Yep. I'll be back when I finish a couple of different anime. And the first one definitely I'm going to do is going to be the strongest mage in the demon's army was a human. And after that, it'll be Go Lose a Ranger. I'm doing those 2 series, which shouldn't take me very long. What, another one? Don't know. It's possible. I'll figure it out when I finish watching those 2 series. I might do one more, because basically I might get those series pretty quickly. So yeah, that's pretty much a particular view. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do this like button. So I'm going to go out to eat for dinner, and I'll be right back. I'll be right back after that to work on the 5 anime. Actually, just a little bit of 4, because I'm going to do 1 on Wednesday, but I'm going to just first work on, let's see. I think the first one I get done is, I'm working on Freya first. Get that one knocked out of the way first, and I'll work on it with everybody else. Okay, working on Freya. Fairy 20 Years Quest. Actually, Freya, Spirit Chronicles, Fairy 20 Years Quest, and I'll cap it off with Blue Exorcist. Okay, but until this next video, bye.